We are 75 straight days into daily live for five, which is more like not 5 minutes, but more than that. And I am thrilled this morning to be coming to you. It's Sunday morning, it's 10 a.m. Last night we had green drinks at Five Kings in St. Stephen. About 20 people came and shared drinks and some food and got to know each other. It was absolutely incredible. These are the people who are resisting the despair and the discouragement that is brought on by a government that is not giving us the services we need, and are coming together with their vote, their energy, their liveliness. And I'm just so encouraged and excited. So thanks for everybody who came. And you can catch us at the next one if you didn't make it last night. Now, I do want to continue with glyphosate. Hey, let's keep going here. Essentially, the consensus that I am reaching through my research and many others have is that this is a very likely carcinogenic and absolutely toxic substance that is getting into our food supply, into nature, into our ecosystems, our rivers, our streams, our lakes. And there's still so much to understand about this substance, glyphosate. Now, yesterday, and I want to just kind of pick up seamlessly where we left off, I ended with this review and update with perspective of evidence that the herbicide glyphosate Roundup is a cause of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. And so you can trace back, I'm not going to trace back all the parts. This is part 7. If you feel a bit lost, go back and catch up. It is quite a ride. But yesterday, I read here about how the epidemiologic, animal, and mechanistic studies together provide a coherent and compelling pattern of evidence that glyphosate and GBFs are a cause of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in humans exposed to these agents. Now, what we are seeing is the company that owns glyphosate, which is now Bayer, used to be Monsanto, and government agencies, pest agencies, the Canadian agency, continues to want to kick this can down the road. That is something the Greens are saying about so many things. The 5 urgent issues that I believe that Saint Croix needs to address right now. And when I'm your MLA, I'll work on them every day. The housing, the health care, housing affordability, housing for all, affordable food, public safety, courts, police. These are all things, nursing homes, we've just seen kicked down the road. We're not going to deal with that now. We'll deal with it later. There's not enough to go on. There's not enough to go on. Keep hearing that again and again. And glyphosate is a classic case of that. I want to just this particular scientific study was by Weisenberger, and I want to bring up the way that he ends this study that he conducted. And it says this: Sir Austin Bradford Hill closed his classic article on general causation with the following statement. And so, just to catch you up, causation and correlation, right? We want to find causation and correlation are not the same thing. Causation is, one thing directly causes another thing. Correlation is when two things seem to be happening at the same time. And then, of course, we can study out whether there is a causation. And so Austin Bradford Hill, who wrote an article on causation and essentially kind of coined this in the public understanding, is with the following statement: all scientific work is incomplete, whether it be observational or experimental. Okay, all scientific work is incomplete. That means everything you know, we're getting kind of into how you know things here, but everything you know is very, very conclusive, but we could cast doubt on anything. And that means everything needs to be studied more and more, verified again and again and again. And so all scientific work is incomplete. All scientific work is liable to be upset or modified by advancing knowledge. That does not confer upon us a freedom to ignore the knowledge we already have or postpone the action that it appears to demand at a given time. These words of wisdom are appropriate today in the case of glyphosate as a cause of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I find that so compelling, so true. We can't keep saying, well, we don't know for sure. I mean, we could possibly say that about gravity or any number of things, right? Well, we don't know for sure yet. There's still more to learn. There's still more to know. Yes, but what we do know when we turn around and look back at all of these studies is that it's extremely compelling. And one more article that I want to, another study, Sheldon Krimsky here, another study. I just want to show you what he says. It's being blocked by, there we go, on my view. My review of this case, and again, this is a huge study that I will post in the notes, the description of this video. My review of the case suggests that the attack on the IARC, remember we talked about this a couple of days ago, the 2015 World Health Organization study, their assessment of glyphosate is driven by financial rather than scientific interests. Financial rather than scientific interests. The IRC acknowledges that there remain uncertainties and that they kind of fudged some of the things, left out some things in the draft. That remains undeniable. But with the scientific evidence at hand, the precautionary principle impels one to accept its finding and for regulatory bodies to act on it. The EPA and its advisory panels keep requesting more and better human data. More and better human data. Remember the quote we just studied: scientific knowledge is never finished. And the EPA and advisory panels and people who are proponents of glyphosate keep saying, oh, we need to keep learning more and more and more. Better human data on the relationship between glyphosate and non-Hodgkin, NHL, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, because glyphosate is assumed safe. Because that's how it started. It was produced, and then they just claimed that it was safe. And the burden of proof is on people to then say, no, it's not, because the assumption started with, it is safe. And I would just challenge that the way it started in 1976. Unless definitively proved otherwise by evidence that could take decades to obtain. Okay? Now, I want to just end with this. Beyer just purchased a few years ago from Monsanto. Beyer purchased glyphosate from Monsanto for, get this, $66 billion. $66 billion. Now, why would a company purchase a product that is besieged with lawsuits for $66 billion? Would you buy any product or any company, a sub-company of a company, that was besieged with lawsuits why would you do it? Unless there was a huge profit. And so it comes down to this. I'll just leave you with this today, and tomorrow we'll talk about plans for a way forward, because I'm always saying we don't want to just wallow and dwell on the problems. We need to show that we're aware of the problems, but plans to solve them. Friends, what I have found when I looked into this is $66 billion was the purchase price for Monsanto. Why would they do it? It's because they have settled, and the settlements are in and around $20 billion, including a lawsuit that they promised $1.5 billion for any future settlements. So do the math. $20 billion for lawsuits, settlements out of court. There's 100,000 lawsuits and building and counting. 100,000, where claimants are saying it causes cancer. And they're using these studies that show it. The causation, maybe. The correlation, absolutely. And so there is still, if you can do the math there, $40 billion of profit, billions and billions of profit to make every single year while we continue to purchase and use glyphosate from Beyer. Okay, so if you're thinking this is a contentious issue, we're not sure, the European Union just said it's okay. No, what the European Union did was they did not ban it. They left it up to the countries, and many countries have. But we are seeing, in those quotes that I just referenced, we are seeing, oh, there's enough doubt. We're going to keep kicking it down the road, and we're going to keep spraying New Brunswick. And what we do know that it's harmful, and the studies that are continuing to come out, we can't emphasize the few percentage points of doubt and ignore the mass majority of studies that say this is incredibly toxic, if not cancerous, extremely damaging to organisms and a healthy way of life. Okay, I'll leave it there. Don't want to go 15 minutes today. Join me tomorrow where we're moving to a conclusion. Like I say, I want to talk about what Quebec has done and other forestry solutions and silviculture where we don't have to use a substance and a